Welcome to Chapter 3, Data Types and Variables. In this section, we will explore the fundamentals of data types and variables in programming. Let's dive in. Introduction to data types. Data types are essential in programming, as they define the kind of data that can be stored and manipulated in a program. Here are some common data types. Integer. This data type represents whole numbers without any decimal places. For example, 5, -10, or 100. Floating point. Floating point data types represent numbers with decimal places. Examples include 3.14, -0.5, or 2.0. String. A string is a sequence of characters enclosed in quotation marks. It is used to represent text or words. For instance, hello world. The tech junction, or 123. Boolean. Boolean data type represents a logical value, which can be either true or false. Declaring and initializing variables. Variables are used to store and manipulate data in a program. To use a variable, we first need to declare it and assign a data type. For example, we can declare an integer variable called age, like this, int age. Next, we can initialize the variable by assigning an initial value. For instance, int age equals 25. Now the variable age holds the value 25, and we can use it in our program. Variable naming conventions. When naming variables, it's essential to follow naming conventions and best practices for clean and understandable code. Here are some guidelines. Use meaningful names that describe the purpose of the variable. For example, int number of students. Follow a consistent naming style, such as camel case or underscore notation. For instance, int student count. Avoid using reserved words as variable names, as they have special meanings in the programming language. For example, int class should be avoided. Type conversion and casting. Sometimes, we need to convert data from one type to another for operations or specific requirements. There are two types of conversions. Implicit type conversion, also known as coercion, happens automatically when compatible data types are used together. For example, adding an integer and a floating point number, int num equals 5. Double result equals num plus 2.5. Explicit type conversion, also known as casting, is a manual conversion where we explicitly specify the target data type. For instance, converting an integer to a double, int num equals 5. Double result equals double num. In conclusion, we covered the basics of data types and variables in programming. We discussed different data types such as integers, floating point numbers, strings, and booleans. We explored how to declare and initialize variables, follow naming conventions, and convert data types using implicit and explicit type conversion. Remember to practice working with various data types and variables to strengthen your programming skills. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more educational content and stay updated with the latest programming concepts. Thank you for joining us in this section, and happy coding!